some.
It sounds good, Charlie.
Why is it yellow?
You're behaving like a pack of people.
This is the last straw.
Okay.
All right, fellas, hold it down.
Well, this is a nice way to wind up.
Well, we can't just drift here forever.
Let's go, gang.
Mommy, I want some.
It sounds good, Charlie.
Why is it yellow?
You're behaving like a pack of people.
This is the last straw.
Okay.
All right, fellas, hold it down.
Well, this is a nice way to wind up.
Hear him?
Oh yeah, I can hear you on the stream.
How's
It's all fucked up.
Wait, let me go to the thing.
Do you have Roadcaster as your
Yeah.
as your input?
It's all showing up as playing on my end. So 1 second. Let me just go to the live stream.
Oh. I can hear you now.
Bop bop.
I can hear you now.
Okay, so we're good. I can't tell if they can
Hear him?
Okay, cool.
There you go. You're good.
Okay, let's try that again. All right. Okay. So, let's see. I got to go through my entire joke roster again. All right. Okay. All right. I can do this. I've got this under control. This is a bad look for new viewers, but that's okay because no one watches my channel who's not already been subscribed for like a year or so. Cause I know who watches my fucking videos. I got the knowledge under the hood, you dig? All right, so, oh, and I've got a new thing, something funny joke. Thank you. Yeah, I know, it was the real singer. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
I guess that's the board you got like 2 hours ago.
This is the board I got 2 hours ago.
I
Yes,
have
it
one.
is.
I have one as well. It's great board.
All right.
He likes his
let's-
toys.
Let's just get on into this since I fudged up the opening like nobody's business. We've got a bunch of peeps up in here. These are all patrons on my, frankly, amazing Discord channel. I have the greatest Discord channel in all of the internet. And if you disagree with that, suck an egg. What? That wasn't even a joke. Come on. All right. I love this
I like
thing.
the
I'm so
GP.
excited. I literally, in the middle of Bride of Reanimator, got this new soundboard. And so I haven't had time to put all the custom shit in. So it's all just...
All of mine are just. All of mine are just Twin Peaks quotes. All of my little custom
Give me a
soundboard
Twin
things.
Peaks quote. Give me
Oh God.
There was a fish in the percolator.
That's like my wife and I's favorite Twin Peaks quote. So
That's beautiful. I'm very pleased. All right, introduce yourselves. Well, y'all can see my screen, so in order from do it clockwise.
Diggum, from the Lousy Advice podcast and the band's Lousy Advice and Lightweight.
And this is Terry from Flickering Waves.
I
Podcast
call
hasn't
him
been on.
Flick.
I'm Joey. I have no podcast, but I'm from the East Coast and it's late, and we'll try to put it together. Here we are.
So wait, Terry, I think you were the. Well, actually, I don't know about Diggum, but Terry, I know you were. I think into the movie. The last one? Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And did you? Were you around?
You
for
forgot Brian.
Yeah, most definitely.
Sweet. Wait, I'm gonna just. There we go. Yeah. So this was an interesting night. Oh wait, Brian.
What's up?
Did you introduce
I know
yourself?
you forgot. I'm All That Is Man. Well, everyone calls me Brian now. So, and I actually want to shout out Trippy's podcast and site, Destroy the Brain.
Oh yeah,
Why do you?
we had a good
wanna
time there
shout out?
tonight.
Yeah, why do you
Give
want to
us
shut
some
that
info.
out?
Oh, I had a fun time with everyone doing the trivia game night. Yeah, pretty fun.
We all played trivia earlier. Me and Diggum and Michael and Brian. Our buddy Traffy. If you want to tell him more about that, Michael.
Yeah, he has a podcast. Well, his name's Andy, but we call him Treefy because his last name is Triefenbach or whatever the fuck. And his name on the Discord is Treefy, so we call him Treefy. And when he's in the chat, also Treefy. And yeah, so he has a podcast and a website and stuff called Destroy the Brain. They have a beautiful logo. It's very cute, very fresh. I like the color scheme.
Very aesthetic.
Yeah, very
Colors.
aesthetic. It's the opposite of everything I put out. And yeah, there's some fun dudes, and they have a little trivia night that they would normally do at some fucking bar in St. Louis. But, you know, we live in the end times. We live in the boring part of the stand. And, yeah, they did it online, digitally, with the computers and the internet, presumably the AOL. And, we were on there. We had a good time. There was a few hiccups. They were using
We don't
some...
know if we won or not.
We don't know
few.
if we won or not. There were a few hiccups, but nothing too awful. We just want to know what all we won, because we obviously did not actually wind up in 8th place. We were definitely at least a solid second.
But sabotage.
We were sabotaged. And yeah. I have feedback in my headphones right now so that I can hear my fun effects. And I can also hear my voice, which is so fun. I'm really glad I didn't smoke weed tonight.
Well, you missed out.
I am so excited to put so many sounds on this soundboard. Oh, buddy. Anyway, this is Survivors of the Last Drive-In, and some of us are survivors. Now, because of Andy's trivia night, which again, highly recommend. Check out his podcast, Destroy the Brain. I'm not sponsored, I promise. Well, I guess I am, actually. I am sponsored by Treefy because he's a patron.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Check out Diggum's band and podcast. Also sponsored.
Treefy's podcast just did an episode on Day of the Beast, which I just was a total discovery for me recently. Like, I just adored that movie. So,
yeah, he's great. He's great peep. He's great peep. I'd like to stuff his marshmallow ass up. Anyway, so we watched The Last Drive-In, and Bride of Reanimator, a little iffy for some of us, not quality wise. It's a fucking fantastic movie, but Joey, Diggum, and myself, and Brian, I keep forgetting you're here, Brian, because it's just a little all that
little
logo, and everybody else has a face, and it's just messing me up tonight for some reason.
It's kind of a face.
It's okay. Don't be a pedantic bitch. So the four of us were taking part in this trivia tonight during Bride of Reanimator. So I missed a lot, and I haven't watched Bride in more years than people who can legally smoke have been alive. So I'm not going to be able to give like a very deep shit thing about the movie, but it was really fun what I watched, and that ending fucking slaps. So let's start there. Terry, since you are the most fresh on Bride of Reanimator, what'd you think?
I think the last time I watched it was right around the time that the Blu-ray came out. But I'd managed to kind of forget some beats, and there were questions of whether or not I figured they would try to show the unrated cut, but it was funny that the quality of it just did a noticeable shift a few times. But yeah, I think because this one's always been second to the original, it's had more ground to like become better for me in rewatching it. But yeah, it was really enjoyable, and just one of those movies that I can remember watching on VHS, but I remember it being a lot darker and just kind of more low budget than it appears now. With them doing the restoration and everything, it looks really good.
Sick. And then I think Diggum and Joey, you had seen it more recently?
Yeah, I had watched it not too long ago because it's I just not too recently, but not too long ago, gotten this the Arrow version of it. And yeah, it's a movie that I watched a couple times, and I think I mentioned in the chat that Reanimator is like a top 10 favorite movie for me, the original Reanimator.
Yeah, you were very vocal about it. You had all these
Yes,
flowery
I'm
fucking
like
words
sitting here
to
being like,
say.
oh my god, I love it so much. It's my favorite comedy movie of all time. I love Reanimator. Um, and this movie, and I think Darcy puts it well at the end where she was talking about like it only falls short when you're comparing it to the original Reanimator. Like that's when it starts to fall short, is if you're like, oh, it's not as good as this one, which is
Yeah.
not a great qualifier for the quality of a movie. Is if you're directly comparing it to something else.
Yeah, it's like
it's still
Psycho
good.
2.
Yeah, Psycho 2 is good, but it's no Psycho. But it's
Well,
it's
you
still
know,
a good movie.
you have a hard time not judging it whether
Yeah, when
the
it's
sequel,
so
but
like linked together, it's hard to not compare the two.
it's like when we talked about that in the chat. I thought because Michael was talking about Joe Bob gave it 4 stars, and I was like, well, for me, Reanimator is a better movie. It's
perfect, yeah.
I said it's like nearly a perfect movie to watch in October. And well, it's not as good as this, so it should be a little less, I feel, but it's still a great movie. It's still fun. It still hits good beats. I mean, it's not as good as Reanimator, but it's there. I mean, Jeffrey Combs is great. Like, even when it's like, I forget which sequel of Reanimator, but one of the ones that came out not super long ago. Terrible.
Beyond.
But
Yeah,
Beyond
Beyond.
Reanimator.
Yeah.
Hey, it has a
Awful,
penis
right?
in it. Come on.
I mean, it's good for different reasons than what you'd expect, but it's still a good movie. If you hadn't seen it before, then I think you would have highly enjoyed it. That ending scene where they're taking him under all of his creations. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
a great finale.
I was definitely paying a lot more attention during the finale because I remembered how bonkers it
All the
was.
cannons just
but
set off. Boom, boom, boom.
yeah, like I obviously when I saw it, it was like probably like a lower grade DVD maybe, and like there's just a shitload of great work. Like Screaming Mad George, K&B, they just like slid it right in and did not stop pumping. It was quality work. I was not shocked because again I've seen the movie, but I was amazed that it didn't just hold up, it actually exceeded my memory. Yeah, I was very pleased. What little I caught before that point was between really good and fine. Yeah. A lot of special effects. That's what really popped out to me. It seemed like anytime I looked up, there was something happening effects wise, which and most of it really well done. So and this is Brian Usna, right?
Yes.
Fucking man, like that fucking guy could direct the fuck out of a movie sometimes. And then Brian, you still haven't seen it.
No, I have not. I did. The interesting ending is really cool, especially her outfit.
Yeah, the Frankenstein Bride of Reanimator is
with the little zipper at the front.
Oh my the fucking zipper on the crotch is like it's literally just a thin piece of fabric with a zipper, but it's weirdly disturbing. I don't even know why.
It's a zipper that says "Cops do it by the book."
It's a good payoff. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about the shirt in Halloween 4.
Yeah, Kathleen Kinmont, her filmography.
Yeah, it's a wild one.
Yeah.
Well, I got Bride of Reanimator, like especially the ending too, like her being all sewn together. It's a different movie, but Frankenhooker also like a similar vein, and
yeah, same time.
That's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be probably maybe not the best double feature because I guess you're overlapping a lot, but
I would have much rather watched Frankenhooker than to watch Next of Kin because I really watched it.
Yeah. So this is an interesting night. Usually I'm like on it the entire time. Tonight was definitely less so. I was not really able to follow either movie for two totally different reasons. And yeah, I'm not sure Next of Kin was the best choice for a second film.
I agree.
It reminded me of a few of the middle movies from the original 24-hour Last Drive-In, where I was, what was it? What was the vampire movie with the chicks?
Daughters of Darkness.
Daughters of Darkness.
Oh yeah.
Daughters of Darkness. And
One of the most, honestly, probably one of the most boring movies I've ever watched
It's very slow.
in my fucking life.
That one and what's the one with the swamp creature? Not an
Boggy
actual.
Creek?
What?
Legend of Boggy Creek.
Legend of Boggy Creek. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is how tired
Also
I am.
boring. I remember my dad being like, "Oh man, Boggy Creek's scary as shit. Like it's gonna scare your pants off." And the first time I read that on VHS, I was like, "This is the shits."
Yeah, so it reminded me of those. I think this is the better movie out of those three, but I remember during the first Last Drive-In just being like, oh my God, oh fuck, I can't do this. But I did it, and I'm very proud of myself for staying up a long time.
Something I wanted to say about Brian using in his prominent films is I think it's interesting that the three of them that I would consider to be his like prominent output, which is probably this Society and Return of the Living Dead 3 are probably the three that are like really like his like top billing, if you will. They're all kind of like decent, and then at the end they get really batshit insane with the effects and the crazy things happening. And I don't know if that's like intentional with like his like style, but I think it's really interesting that his like big three movies to me are just all follow that same formula.
I mean,
I didn't realize all three were his, but that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's build up, and he's obviously a big fan of special effects sequences.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Especially with Society.
That Society. Oh man, that's just one you got to watch. That's a good one to bring. Like you wake someone watch that movie. Come over, I got to show you something, and they don't hate you afterwards. You got a good friend. You know.
My ideal double
that movie,
feature is
Society.
to show Society and Get Out back to back, because I think those are two movies that are saying like distinctly almost the same thing, but in a completely different way.
Oh, that's a very good one. I like that a lot.
And
that's a better double feature than what we just saw.
Completely.
Again, and I just want to point out for those who are about to tune out early. I mean, we only have 19 viewers right now, but who are maybe watching this later. I don't think any of us disliked either movie. Obviously, all of us who watched it enjoyed Bride of Reanimator. But I think I can probably say that no one disliked Next of Kin. Like, obviously, there's some thoughts, but I think everybody at least thought, "Hey, this is a good movie."
Yeah,
it was losing me for a long time though, until the last 30 so minutes.
I think it's interesting they even reference in the show that fact, like bring Darcy into reference, like, "Hey, this is like slow as hell." Until the end.
Well, she put out a tweet even like, "Hey, thanks for staying up." You know.
Yeah. She tweeted. She's like, "Hey, thanks for sticking it out
rough.
with us on this."
It's rough.
Yeah. I'm very much the slow burn kind of guy. I even watched that not awful, but kind of meh movie Slow Burn when it came to theaters, starring Ray Liotta. That's how much I love slow burn movies. And wait, do I? Is it this one? I don't know. Yeah. So I love a good slow burn. I love a good Aussie flick. Wake in Fright, notably, is an amazing film. Also kind of slow in spots. And I like a good haunted house flick. Obviously, this isn't quite a haunted house flick, but it definitely puts itself off as a haunted house flick for a while. And I was kind of out of it for most of the movie. I started it, and almost immediately, like right after Rita gets out of the car, Aunt Rita, near the beginning, right after that, I started to just lose it. And I never quite got it back until the finale. I was kind of in and out.
Yep.
and it's really just down to being tired. I think if I was more awake for this particular last drive-in, it wasn't just like decimated, I probably would have been able to do better, but I didn't.
I'm really curious about the philosophy behind programming these double features, because it's like, I don't know if it's smarter to start out with a stronger, more exciting movie and then end with one that's a bit more, reserved.
Yeah,
But
Yeah, I would start with the reserved one.
that would be
'cause-
my idea, because it's like when you're starting, you've already got people's attention, and then towards the end is when you're gonna start losing people. So it's like that's when we really need to ramp it up. And it seems like this entire season, they've almost kind of gone in the reverse direction most of the time, where it's like they start off with the high octane pay attention movie, and then they kind of end with the one that's a little bit more on the downslope.
Yeah, obviously I love Audition.
Yeah.
But not the best choice for the last drive-in for multiple reasons. One is that it is pretty slow for the
Same with
most
House by the
part.
Cemetery. It's the same idea.
Yeah, and
Well,
but with Audition and with this, I feel like also it's the kind of thing you need to like get yourself into the mood for it. Whether that be before watching the movie or just in the first few minutes, like getting acclimated to it, and then just watch it and let it kind of see. Because like that's the thing with slow burn movies is if you're not into it, it's going to fuck up the entire experience. Once you get
I guess
into
so.
it, and you can kind of lock in.
Like for me, I don't know. I've not seen Next to Kin, so I can't say. I didn't really watch it that well tonight. I definitely owe it a second, watch. But with Audition, I mean, that movie I had seen before, but it is just such a phenomenal movie. I think it's worthy of being on anything to introduce it to a bigger audience because it's such a memorable thing. My girlfriend had never seen it, and like we're still talking about it this week. Kitty, 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 kitty.
And just to clarify, I think that Audition works better for the last drive-in, certainly, but I think if there's the choice between watching it with Joe Bob commentary or for the first time, obviously, and watching it just straight through by itself, I think watching it straight through by itself is a far more rewarding experience.
Probably so, but I think it's just a strong one to introduce to people.
Yeah, and this is that to the nth degree, because like there's not really, this is kind of your standard. Not standard, I don't want to put it that far because there is some really great filmmaking on display, but it is that sort of, this is a haunted house movie, maybe. Who knows? We'll see what the twist has in store.
Watching it and knowing that Quentin Tarantino liked it, watching it being like, yeah, I get why Quentin Tarantino likes this, because he has a very particular style of movie that he likes. As far as like, he's like, oh, like this movie's great. Like he'll like Nightmare in Badham County, I'll describe how great this movie is to you. Oh, Whiskey Mountain, I'll describe why this is the best Deliverance ripoff movie or whatever. Like I totally get like his style of movie and why he would like this. But it just is, it just was not capturing my imagination in the way that it does him. But I get why Quentin Tarantino likes this, because this is exactly the movie that he would like.
Yeah, 100%. And he also probably has like seen it in like a theater, knowing him.
He probably owns
a print.
35 millimeter print of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That fucking nerd. Not like us Chads over here with our live stream collecting all these goddamn movies. So Tara, you probably paid the most attention. I say probably. You definitely paid the most attention.
No doubt.
What were your overall thoughts on Next of Kin?
I would say early, the part of it that was the slow burn. What was keeping me into it was, I'm going to not even try to remember character names at this point, but
don't.
Our lead actress, I thought her performance was very interesting throughout, and the score kept me into it. So thinking, I had a moment or two where it made me think back to a film like Carnival of Souls, where you have this, this soul lead actress that's kind of carrying it, and that for me, as far as older horror scores, has been one of my favorites ever since I'd seen it on DVD. So that kept me going. And then when Joe Bob sat there and was like, okay, we're not cutting back to this until the movie's over. This is the concluding segment. From that moment on, it clicked. And it was even funny because there's a documentary which I was surprised didn't get mentioned. It's on Shudder, called Not Quite Hollywood, which is the exploitation documentary. I think Tarantino makes a reference in there. It's like, no matter what genre of Australian film it is, there will always end up being some crazy car thing. And sure enough, there at the end, it delivered. I was like, yeah, I think why he likes it.
In that documentary, he compares this movie to The Shining, like an Australian type Shining movie. Which
that he does.
Just from the cinematography, I could see that comparison, at least as far as like the shots they were choosing to film and just the like vibe of it. I can see where he's making that comparison.
Yeah, it has a very eerie vibe. It has a lot of atmosphere. They get the most out of that house. I don't remember what Joe Bob said was the origin story of that house, but they get a lot out of it. Very wisely. It's claustrophobic. It feels like it's probably very warm, but that's, I think, just because it's Australia and everybody's sweating all the time. I did get a lot of that about the actress's performance. Just like in what I saw, like, or in what I like was really like able to fully grasp. Like, she was always very this is the problem with doing this podcast, or this not even a podcast, Jesus Christ, this fucking show late at night. But it's very magnetic, her performance. She's the kind of actor that you're just drawn to. I'm shocked that because she's the one that he said didn't do anything else, right?
Some TV stuff, but no more features. That's
insane. That's fucking insane. Because that was solid shit. That's what that was some. I'm gonna use some artistic language and say that was some solid shit. I loved her. And really, I mean, and he mentioned that a lot of the cast were kind of Australian regulars. Just great performances all around. It's one of those things where, quality cinematography, quality direction, quality performances, quality score, like you put that together, no matter how slow you make it, there's something there for you if you're able to like sit down and appreciate it, which, I guess we all did to a degree.
We were worse tonight the other nights, but
yeah, I'm glad I wasn't high tonight. Holy shit, this would have been awful.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
the Clue was so interesting for this movie, right? Because it was a movie that it was getting appreciation 30 years later for the director.
Like, I had not heard of this movie. Like, I heard of Next of Kin, the other Next of Kin.
Yeah. As far as the director goes, I don't even think I've ever heard of him.
Yeah, that was, I think,
a blue link on Wikipedia. So that's how little he's appreciated. You know what I mean? Like he's even have a Wikipedia page. So that's why I'm like, what? I don't understand how that clue fits, but
well, we had talked about it in like the Patreon chat all week. Like, well, what could this be? Who is this?
Yeah, I was like, Nightmare Maker, because it's getting a lot of buzz. Like a lot of different stuff has been, being appreciated.
I have never heard of this movie.
Yeah, and I never.
Yeah, I remember when Severin announced it, and I can't remember if this came out right around the same time as Death Warmed Up, which when I realized that was a New Zealand film, I was like, well, they're not going to do that one. And then I thought Michael's Guess last night was good, but when they said it was an Australian, there went that again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I actually this has been on my watch list for a long time. I kept putting it off because I'm an idiot. And this is what always happens when I put something off. I then see it in less than optimal circumstances. So I need to stop doing that and just watch every movie on my 2000 film watch list.
Because when they say a good Australian film, I sort of think, oh, it's going to be Road Games now. Like I'm like, oh, it's going to be Road Games.
Well, they're very good at tricking us. Yeah. They're very good at getting a little swerve in there.
Yeah. This was like one that that clue, like you say, like, huh? That's
yeah. I mean, it's true. It's Yeah, that is another thing. Yeah, I was thinking more like late 80s, early 90s. And yeah, this is 1982.
If you're saying it's going to be appreciated 30 years later, I figure it's got to be this year, it's got to be 30 years old.
Yeah.
It's got to be 91 or something. You know what I mean? Like,
or something close. Yeah.
It was 82,
Yeah,
40, 39 years, I guess.
Yeah. It was a bit of a cheap shot there, but I should have.
You cheaped out on me, Joe Bob.
Here's the thing. There was that hidden clue, which was we're gonna show a lot of fucking slow movies this season.
Yeah.
So pick one.
Yeah. Per episode, just about.
Yeah, which is fine by me. I'm gonna start getting a nap in before Last Drive-In because I'm too old for this shit. I don't even know. I don't know why I fucking started this goddamn show. This is such a mistake.
Take him as a hater, confirmed. It's not like the naps. I have a question for everybody because, because of this movie, I'd never heard of, but for me, watching The Last Drive-In the last few years has really turned me onto a few movies I've never heard of. So I'm curious as to if there's been anything through the whole run from the original marathon to now that's really just something you've loved that you had never heard of before. For me to start off, Basket Case was great and Deadbeat at Dawn. Those were two for very different reasons. Not necessarily the greatest movies, but just the way they were made that I had never heard of, and I was really, pleased to have found and just run around telling all my friends to watch them. So I was wondering, what would that be for you guys? A movie you had not heard of or had not seen?
Tourist Trap. I love Tourist Trap because of The Last Drive-In.
I had never seen, and this was actually embarrassing for me when it came. This is another one that was actually on my watch list for forever. But Dead Heat was, and I know some people hated that movie, but Dead Heat is borderline perfect cinema. And I finally saw it. I actually have I'm so bad. My memory is so just destroyed by years of, I don't even know what has destroyed my brain. Just years of being me, I guess. Being from Florida. I don't know. Living in a nuclear hell site. But I have a list up of of all the movies that have been shown, and I don't know. I mean, a lot of them I've seen before. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, a lot of them I had seen before too. It was because in our Discord server, I always talk about how all these people talk about classic film and stuff like that, and that's not my thing. So when it's come to horror, cult, and exploitation stuff, that's kind of been my thing outside of Italian stuff. But honestly, probably the one that has really floored me that I'd never seen is probably Dead or Alive with the Dinners of Death one.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And it really kind of blew my socks off when the first time I saw it, where I was like, this is absolutely batshit.
Well, yeah, it's a borderline perfect film with the greatest opening of all time.
Yeah, it's best 15 minutes probably ever in a movie.
I was
straight up.
I was not a big fan of that movie. Did not like it.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's okay, because we all have opinions, and some of them are objectively wrong. So anyway, I also
at least Phantasm Ravager is bad. Everybody knows that now.
Yeah, Hogzilla is bad. Do we have any Hogzilla fans in here?
Sorry.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no Hogzilla fans.
No.
For Joe Bob, but that's about it.
Yeah, I liked Haunt a lot. That was one that I had kept putting off as well.
That's a movie my wife and I liked, and it was nice to see it get some recognition, at least a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I was one of the few people that did not particularly care for Deadbeat at Dawn. I didn't hate it or anything, but it was definitely one of those movies where I was like, that was good.
Yeah, it wasn't a great movie. Don't get me wrong, but the story behind it, and that's the enticement of Joe Bob, him telling you all the stuff that happened, stealing the camera equipment from Dayton University or whatever, and filming it over how many years, and doing their own stunts because some of that stuff's getting laid in thick, driving the car into the wall in between. The lead did, the director, but all that was, that's to the experience of watching The Last Drive-In. I don't know.
There are
That's
movies
why
that I really appreciate him showing. Like it's like One Cut of the Dead is probably the one that I appreciate him showing the most because it is.
It's
I remember-
amazing.
Oh, you're
I
right.
just
Yeah,
remember-
that's another one for me.
Hearing so much about it and then buying the Blu-ray and then watching it and being like, oh my god, I get why this is so great. And then his just version of it was so phenomenal, and his
Mhm.
speech at the end and everything about it was just
Mhm.
that is just.
Make your
if-
movie.
If anybody's gonna watch any episode of Last Drive-In, that's the one that I'm always like, you need to watch the One Cut of the Dead one because not only is
Oh
the
yeah, I think
movie
that's
great,
definitely the best. Yeah.
his in between segments are probably the best. Like out of all the movies, it's just so good.
That's everything on in Gear 4. Just boom, everything
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had seen One Cut of the Dead 2 or 3 times actually before that, but it was that's definitely the best episode of Last Drive-In, like without no competition so far. Brian, did you give
About
you
the
said
movie?
something, right? Well, about a movie that
Oh,
you
One
hadn't
Cut of the
seen or
Dead.
liked or discovered through The Last Drive-In?
And Tourist Trap was another good one.
Right,
They beat,
right.
like you guys said.
Yeah, Tourist Trap is a fucking just deserves better on Blu-ray. Let's just say
I
that
just like
deserves
when
better.
He sort of gives movies that I like already credence. Like The Prowler is probably my favorite slasher movie, and for him to give that a little bit of credence in the original marathon, I just love it.
Prowling?
No, The Prowler.
It sounds like it's the Prowling. Sorry.
Yeah, the Prowler by Jose.
No, it's awesome. It's amazing.
It's my favorite slasher movie. So for him to even give that sort of the attention and the credence is a good thing for me.
Man, being a
Here's
Prowler
going to
fan,
that.
that's got to be tough.
Because like I saw that movie for The Last Drive-In, and like some of those like we're watching it the first time, and like that kill, I don't know, I guess she's in the water and he like slits her throat or like stabs her in the neck, and it's like, oh god, did they just kill somebody for real? That was so good.
When
Like,
we were in the
Savini was great on it, man.
when we were in the trivia chat earlier, we were talking about filming the music video I directed and how I was talking about a spear kill. Originally, it was supposed to be a pitchfork kill as a tribute to the Prowler because that's how much I love that movie. When he kills the girl with the pitchfork in the shower. Like I had like planned the entire thing out to kill somebody with a pitchfork, but it ended up being a spear because of the prop mishap that we talked about earlier. Because that's how much I love the Prowler because it's absolutely phenomenal movie, and it's great to see him give
Underrated.
it that
Yeah,
treatment.
it is underrated.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I remember a lot of people hating on that one
Yeah,
when
I
it was being
I
shown.
don't get it.
Which, to be fair, it's another kind of slow movie through a lot of it.
I call it's an American Giallo movie.
Oh, God, I wish I remembered which button did which. Is this right? No.
It's the American Giallo. The Prowler.
Sure.
Those Giallo.
Sure. It's a really good slasher film. Definitely underrated. A little slow. Great finale. And my lighting teacher worked on it, and that's always something I
Tom
like
Savini
to.
effects, top notch. Even if
Yeah,
the kill
straight
in
up.
the pool where they just like drown a person with a little pool net is not great, still fine.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Next of Kin, though?
We
Yeah.
really avoided talking about
But the
that movie
ending-
so hard.
Yeah, it's gonna. I would look forward to watching it a second time because even for me, the ending was such a tonal shift from the first half of the film that I know, I picked up the thing about kind of the book ending with the beginning and the end, but I know there's other pieces that in a second watch I'll stitch those things together, and I look forward to that.
I just remembered now. I rarely do this. I fucking called the ending. I fucking knew it. The second that Aunt Rita stepped out of that car, I was like, or not stepped, was wheeled out, but I was like, that bitch right there. Don't trust that bitch. And I was like, okay, well, it's probably her doing the stuff. And then I kind of forgot about it because, again, I was just like completely out of it for most of the movie. And then I guess because the movie didn't really get to work its magic on me and like get to like push me in different directions or anything. The twist comes up and I'm like, oh yeah. And I remember actually middle of the movie, she's looking through the whatever, was it like tests they were doing? I don't know, some medical thing, some like medical records, and Rita's name kept coming up. And that was the moment where I was like, oh, that bitch. Okay. Cause I had gathered that she was supposed to be dead. And that was about it. I just like, for some reason, I only gathered the little nuggets throughout that kind of like leaned in towards the twist, and like everything else, I just, so I kind of cheated, I guess. My tiredness like led me to the twist. And so I wasn't shocked, but I was pleased. Like it was like, this feels like just a good reveal. And then when she's running out and she's screaming and it's all in slow motion and her scream is like that was just like peak filmmaking right there. That was beautiful. Like that whole sequence just blew my brain out the back, like with a gun, like with how whatever the Kelvin or whatever the fuck his name is, just,
followed by another amazing scene with the sugar cubes.
Oh my god, those sugar cubes are so good. Like suddenly, like everything about the movie, even the little things, just like kicked up a gear. Which again, nothing wrong with like the preceding moments, but it definitely, it goes from like, it's kind of like The Changeling, actually, because a lot of The Changeling is very kind of just like doop-a-doop-a-doop. Some spooky stuff is happening, and George C. Scott is here, and he's fun and cool and sad. Why does he need this big house? He's such an old, lonely man. Why does he need this house? And then there's fire, and the old guy over there, and there's the fucking ghosts, and holy shit.
George C. Scott's great, though. Like, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, The Changeling in general is fucking great.
Probably drunk the whole time on set, but it's just, what burden are you carrying, George? I'm interested. I'm invested. Tell me your story.
But yeah, I mean,
we were talking about that. That was in the trivia. And like, what a great movie, George C. Scott.
Better than the first Exorcist movie, for sure.
I disagree, but hey, so good.
Bold claim.
You're wrong.
Yeah. So I apologize. I apologize to anyone watching this who wanted in-depth discussion of these films.
Yeah, we're trash fans.
This is more a discussion of how to structure a double feature.
I do want to say that I do find Kathleen Kinmont's performance in the first movie, when she comes alive as the bride of Reanimator, there is like a really heartbreaking aspect to the way she delivers everything and acts.
It is like, why don't you want me anymore? You built.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's brilliant. Actually,
it is like very.
What
sad.
is she?
The first time we watched that, like my girlfriend.
It's really sad.
Because commentary if you want to on the.
It's not even like, because like Bride of Frankenstein is a rejection of everybody else, as opposed to the Bride of Reanimator, which is heartbreaking because she rejects, everybody rejects her, and it's like really sad to experience that moment.
Oh, it's very nice to see. She kept work. She's still working.
Yeah.
That's great.
Looks like she's still doing stuff because her performance in that moment is like really, I think it's really fantastic. Like when she's like,
it really is. It's very heartbreaking.
She's like, you created me, and then to Dan, who she's obviously very attracted to and very invested in, and then Herbert turns to her and it's like, no, I created you, and she's like kind of crestfallen almost in that moment. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, I did love her performance. When she's like kind of like getting all up on him, and it's that mix of the grotesque and just kind of disgusting, with the sensual, with the just deep sadness of her trying so hard to get him to accept her. It's really sad. It is the culmination of a lot of dick measuring between our two leads, which, by the way,
a lot of homoeroticism.
Yeah, Bruce Abbott, fucking snack. in this movie.
Definitely.
Just he looks like he belongs in a Victorian melodrama the whole time.
looks
Like his
like he
hair
should
is
be, like,
extra floofy,
and
Peter
that like
Cushing's assistant in like a Hammer horror film.
billowing. Yeah,
He's playing Jonathan
Yeah,
Harker
yeah.
in like a Dracula play.
Yeah.
exactly. I wonder. Do you think they were gonna? I don't know the trivia behind Bride of Reanimator like I should. Do you think they were gonna try to bring back Barbara Crampton and they just couldn't, and so
I
they
think that
switched
was
it
the
out so they
initial
could?
idea because she was on like soap operas by then, and I think her agent was like, "This isn't a great idea to do this again."
Yeah, that's too bad because, like, I mean, obviously what we got was great, but I do feel like having like that extra leap of having the same face and this,
Totally,
same.
Yeah, it's a little more emotional weight, right?
Yeah, I would think. But then again, this is like a lot to take in by itself. So, not necessarily, by no means a bad thing. But it was one of those little like what ifs. Oh, thank you, Travis. I am the best. So it is one of those things that, it would be nice to visit that parallel world, turn on the Rick and Morty TV and see what
And
that would be like.
Her tearing her own heart out too. It's just like such a visceral, cool moment.
Ugh.
The effects are just absolutely top notch, and the emotional beat behind it is, it's a good payoff for the movie.
And then, if I remember right, this is this is not the unrated version.
no, this was
This was okay.
because there's
Oh,
definitely
it
some
has the
drops
still
in quality
or-
on some of the
On the
more
Okay.
grotesque moments.
Okay, that explains. I did notice the drop in quality, and I was wondering that. And then I thought I saw that someone said it was not the unrated version, so I was confused. But now I'm realizing that I'm just a generally confused person. And when I see a positive, I see a negative, which explains, all of my anxiety in life. So,
If I remember correctly, too,
yes.
David Gale was very sick when they did this movie. The actor who played Dr. Hill. who-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but he was very committed to doing this movie because he loved doing the first one, and he wanted to do this one really badly. And from what I was aware of, he was very committed to doing this, but he was very visibly ill at the time.
Yeah, I don't think he made it much longer after
Yeah, it's like a
the
year
filming of
probably.
this. Yeah.
That's sad. But I'm glad. That's pretty cool that he was so into it. Like, it's nice when, before, now I feel like it's even now I feel like people don't like, we go into in waves of respecting horror movies. And it's nice to see like an older, I don't know how accomplished he was. I feel like he was an
Well, I remember
accomplished
doing
actor,
some
right?
research on him, and I don't think that he started his acting career till he was in his late 50s, doing stage stuff. So he's a very late in life kind of actor.
Oh yeah, he only had 38 credits to his name.
Yeah, so he acted for a very short amount of time, but he had a very pretty legendary performance in his career. So
Yeah. Oh, he was 54. Holy shit. Oh man. That's really sad. Now I'm all sad. Man, fuck you, Dickum.
Sorry.
By the way, Travis in the chat said, "Love your rant about Jason Goes to Hell. Watched it 3 times already. Holy shit, man!"
Watch Jason Goes to Hell
I never-
3 times because it's good, or what? Because I love Jason Goes to Hell.
It's a good movie, but it's not a good Jason movie.
A chat for another time, perhaps. We should actually. You know what?
That's
When I
an
get the
hour-long
podcast
rant.
back up, when I get the podcast going up again, which is why I bought this board. So I'm very excited. I'll be sooner rather than later. We'll have to do like a big Jason Goes to Hell debate discussion.
Yeah.
In defense,
I
in
say that.
damnation.
That does mean
Because I'm a
that means I'll have to
defender, for
fucking
sure.
watch it again. Oh
Yeah,
god, I
I'm a
don't want to
total
watch it again.
defender of it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember
at least-
liking it the last time I watched it, but that was so long ago. I know my taste have not necessarily gotten better, but they're just
Hey, man,
different.
Jason's dead. 2-for-1 burger sale.
It's
God, y'all are gonna gang up on me and just
not a good
just
Jason movie. It's not a good
ravage my
Friday the
butthole.
13th movie.
Fuck.
As a regular movie at that time, well enough, but it's it's not a good Jason movie.
I'd rather watch the
Who's trying to
Hidden.
be Jason?
Uh,
Just to throw a question out, go back to Bride of Reanimator. I know at the end of the interview tonight, Jeffrey Combs kind of suggested that he and uh, Bruce Abbott had been talking that maybe Herbert West is not done, and I felt like I was trying to find the tweet or something that was making a reference of conversation between um, him and Barbara Crampton. Would you guys want to see a fourth movie, or would you like them to go like a la Castle Freak, where it's just like let's bring these people back together and do something else?
Second,
Huh.
yeah, the latter.
It's so hard because it's like I feel like the magic of the first one is so within
Mhm.
Stuart Gordon's direction and and just him being involved, that it would be hard to do it again. Because like I think with like something like Beyond Reanimator, you see how much his absence is like a detriment to the story and the characters.
You know
Um,
what? I'm gonna take the road less traveled. I don't know if that actually works here. And I'll say that I would actually like to see, I guess like one of those like soft reboots, like a Halloween type. I mean, not necessarily ignore anything, but try to kind of do its own thing while also, still being the same guys, just contending with each other once more.
you do Reanimator: The Next Generation.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I think there's an audience for it. I mean, we love nostalgia.
They're a great pairing. Like they could do something else that's new and great. Like I mean, they're both
That's true.
phenomenal. Like let them, there's a script out there, or someone could even write it around them. That's like their pairing was
that's
so
gonna be the
good in
trick.
those movies. Someone could write something around them.
I think somebody mentioned in the chat too,
Yeah.
like I would love to see Jeffrey Combs' Poe thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There was a
Screen format.
Kickstarter that apparently went nowhere, unfortunately.
That's such a bummer.
That was like one of
I
the few
would love to see it.
Kickstarters that I had tried to get involved with that just didn't pan out.
All I've got is that goddamn Masters of Horror episode.
But I just think both are so strong, and especially like I really want to see Barbara's new movie with Jacob's Wife. Is the name of it.
Yeah.
And we talked this in the chat too. Like we'd all heard good things about it. I really want to see it. I just think both those are so strong, and like Barbara's getting a nice little resurgence from your next, on forward.
Onwards, yeah.
And that's really nice to see. And she's still got it. And I mean, Jeffrey Combs is he can have it. Like just ride it around them. Throw this decent actor there for their kids or whoever else. Write something that's make it work.
Well, and they also did like
It's money on the
Reanimator-
table, man.
They did Reanimator the musical for so long. They did like a lot of different things with that story. I think you could continue it in some way, but it's gonna be really but even Stuart Gordon was involved in that, in bringing that to the stage and bringing and adapting that to that format.
I think that the story the story and the tone are so familiar now. I think you could give it to another director, it'd be fine. Like honestly, I think there are enough talented writers and directors out there that you could make something that it'll never live up 100% to Reanimator. That's a given. But I think you give someone the reins who's willing to put together like a good mix of whatever vision they have with the tone and style from before. Give it a little mix up. Make it not too referential, make it its own thing. I think you could have a rather belated sequel. Obviously, they're all getting up there in age, but not Barbara Crampton. She's actually still perfectly fine. But but I think you could make another enjoyable film. I was really sad that House of Reanimator never happened. I remember, like, for several years there was always like some bit of news popping up every few months about House of Reanimator, like, oh, this time it's really gonna happen, guys, don't like this time it's gonna happen. And then of course never happened, which sucks ass. But
you give it to somebody who understands the comedic aspects of it,
yeah,
you can really
you love those comedic aspects.
Well, that's what makes the first Reanimator.
I know.
You understand both
the timing.
Like, if you give it to like an Edgar Wright type, then you're probably going to get a decent Reanimator movie out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
certainly.
If you're giving it to sort of somebody who doesn't understand that time, who doesn't understand those moments that give it that little bit of levity, It's just
Or Adam Wingard.
I like Adam Wingard. You get it to an Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett,
Yeah.
it probably could be a good Reanimator.
Give it that
movie.
guest makeover,
Yeah.
you know?
They talked about like how Reanimator had that timing, like a movie like Clue, you know.
Yeah, we were
Just,
talking about
you know,
Clue. Yeah,
It hits constantly, and the cast just,
Yeah.
you know, it's on rails, and you're along for the ride.
it's
you know,
so
it's-
understated in its writing that it's
Mhm.
that's what makes a lot of it for me.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so we actually got a little bit of Reanimator talk in. That's good. I'm glad. Wait a second, let me just doop. You wouldn't think I would need this, but here we have today's sponsor. Let me bring it to the full screen. We got our nature-made melatonin gummies. Yeah. I actually have my other sponsor, Desert Pepper Trading Company, Tequila Salsa,
Yay.
which of course Brian introduced me to. But the only reason I have that is I went to the store today and they did not have my black bean dip. And the last time I went to the store, they also didn't have my black bean dip. And I'm very worried about my black bean dip because the last time I bought it, it was on sale. It was on like clearance.
It's called a blessing from
And,
above. The
Yeah,
tequila
mine was
is
clearance
better.
too at my store. The black bean dip.
God damn it. I swear to God, if they discontinue the black bean dip, I'm gonna tear some fucking scalps. All right. I'm gonna fucking, I swear to God. This show's only known, this channel is only known for two things: talking about Blu-rays and black bean dip. God damn it.
So knowing what the first Gialli is.
Yeah. Anyway, as I said, I'm sorry we couldn't dig.
Black glove.
Oh,
Black Glove Bride.
one of the answers, one of the questions at trivia tonight was, what's considered the first Giallo? It was multiple choice, and it was obviously, there was the correct answer was The Girl Who Knew Too Much. There was The Birth of Crystal Plumage. What was the other one that actually exists? It doesn't matter.
It was the bottom
Another one that exists.
It was the bottom one. It was a blood
yeah,
black
so-
lights, but it was something like that.
Yeah. So one of them.
Oh wait,
and
you know
then,
what? It was what have you done with Solange? No,
Was
no,
it?
it was your vice is a locked room and only I have the key. That's what it was.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay.
Which is
So
a
a
weird
Martino,
choice.
not a Baba at all.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You fucking guy. Sort of
That's a
fucking guy.
great title.
What is
I love
Italian?
that movie, just hearing it.
And then what was the? I don't want to.
Black
Was it
Glove
the
Bride.
the Black Gloved Bride? That is like such. But it doesn't exist. So guys, if you want to hop on that, I would say I would do it, but that we all know that's not going to fucking happen. Someone make it happen. Someone make Black Gloved Bride a reality, and don't fuck it up. Don't try to get too meta with it. Don't try to overdo like the faux film aesthetic, like Abracadabra did.
My question is,
just
can you make a
Considering the genre,
Gialli?
you don't need that much story.
Can
so
you make
it's
a Gialli set in 2021? I don't know if you can.
I think you could. I think that Argento a few times when he was making his modern Gialli, they weren't necessarily amazing, but he did manage, and it was well past their prime. I think Sleepless, manages it in the 90s. I thought Giallo honestly was not the worst. It wasn't great.
Like, can you make a Giallo when we have a smartphone?
I think so. Yeah, sure. You really just have to think. I mean, it's like with any
filters
horror
are
movie.
fine, man. Like, that's what they are, right? They're just filters of haze and shit. Just throw it on there and have a hand coming in from something, and then don't reintroduce that for like 70 minutes.
Well, that's now my mission, to make the second American Giallo after
Have
the
some weird
Prowler.
kids. You might have a scholar here or there, or someone who is like an artiste, and they're figuring something out, but they don't because they're wrong. And then that's the end. And we don't understand. Go ahead.
So you're not the biggest Giallo
No,
fan,
honestly,
Joe.
I'm busting some balls right now, but like it's all right. Like there's plenty I haven't seen, but like it is a very fever dreamish genre.
It's time to make that video, Michael.
It's time to make that video. God damn it! All right.
Time to make a video, man. Inform me.
Yeah, a lot of great Giallo out there. Anyway, we've lost the plot quite a bit throughout this. I think we've talked about the two movies
Think
for
about
like a combined.
Mortal Kombat.
Let's talk about Mortal Kombat.
I'm not going to bed because that's where I'm going, fellas.
Maybe I'll get super high next time. We'll talk about Mortal Kombat or whatever other movie Warner Brothers decides to dump on the world. So yeah, I think that's about it. Any final statements or anything anybody wanted to say that they didn't get to? Cool. Oh. Did you have something to say, Tara?
I was just going to real quick, going back to Joey's question earlier about Joe Bob episodes, first time watches, dial code Santa Claus for me, definitely.
Oh, hell
That's a
yeah.
good one for a lot of people, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one that I had seen a little while before. And then the Vinegar Syndrome announcement came, and I was like, fuck yeah, because I watched it streaming at some point.
Yeah.
I had watched it the year before it was on Joe Bob, so like, you know, and like we had just like horror Christmas movies. We had watched like Silent Night, Deadly Night or something. Like, let's see what else there is out there. And we found that, like, oh, this is crazy. Wow. Yeah, that's a good one.
Fuck yeah, dial clothes Santa Claus, everybody.
My final thought is long live Stuart Gordon.
Long live Stuart Gordon.
I guess I have a final thought. My wallet is much lighter now because I spent so much on Arrow.
Okay, that's oh my god. There's so much to talk about on Wednesday. I don't. Oh fuck.
Yeah, Wednesday's
Set up
gonna
for
be
Wednesday.
I'm also light a few pounds of cash because I actually mail in cash for my orders. I don't believe in
Self-addressed
banks.
stamped envelope mailing.
Yeah.
You don't want
My
like
final
that
thought is-
either.
Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
Oh, I said Kino won't even like Michael's paying in either, probably.
Oh yeah, I had a whole problem with getting my third Kino order. They declined 2 of my cards, both of which work fine. Actually, I tested that card at the grocery store today. I was like, there's no way that this would get declined. And I tried it and I spent a lot of money at the grocery store. And it was A-okay. So fucking Kino fucking with me. But I finally got it. Now I got more movies that I won't watch until the next sale. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us on Survivors of the Last Drive-In. This is probably the worst episode we're going to do. Not any of y'all's fault, obviously. If this is the best one, we are fucked. So come back next time and join us for more discussions of The Last Drive-In. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Carrie Mulligan, for asking the ultimate question. How many are going to be canceling Arrow orders in order to order Vinegar Syndrome tomorrow? And by tomorrow, we mean today.
0.
So see y'all. Might talk about that at noon. Who knows? I don't know. But whatever. You know what, guys? Just fucking,
9 a.m.
just fucking. Actually, you know what? Y'all are my patrons. You deserve this. Who wants? Do you want to on 3 say do the going out line?
Sure.
Oh,
All at once?
Yeah. I'll do it.
All right. Okay.
I'll do it.
Until next time. 1, 2, 3.
Go
Go
watch
watch
a
a movie. That was fucking.